lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels slow, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Welcome everybody to Sim Racing Media tonight. The drivers of the Racers Elite Xfinity Series take on Las Vegas. We're in for 130 laps of fun and excitement tonight. Brennan Broadfoot led the most laps last week when we were at Daytona, but Christopher Fowler took home the victory. Brennan Poffenbarger was second, and Robert Knopfsinger was third. Like they're just about ready to wrap up practice here and get set to hit the track for qualifying. Fastest in practice was Daniel Honeycutt, new driver. Didn't see him last week, but this week he is atop the practice board. We'll see what happens here once they jump over to this lone qualifying session. Hitting the track right at the... What's going on? Hold on 1 second. Right back. I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but we are back and they have started their qualifying session here. Daniel Honeycutt is on the pole position right now with a 30.69. Andrew Tuft is in second. Matthew Jarrett up there in third. Timothy Hoke in fourth. Brandon Poffenbarger fifth. Eric Spencer, Robert Knopfsinger in sixth and seventh. Alex Tuft out on track right now. First lap was a 30.99. Like that's what he's going to take here. Dennis Kane out on track. Completed his lap, so 31.60, a 31.16. Zach Beaton in the number 20 Toyota. See what he can do for a lap time. .31.23, good enough for 10th position here. See if he's going to be able to improve on this next lap. Uh, 31.03 jumps up a couple positions. Qualified 8th now. That looks like everybody who is in the session. We are set with 12 drivers right now. Should be just getting ready to wrap up here. Daniel Honeycutt did have the best lap time, good enough for pole position by almost a tenth of a second. Be jumping over to the race session momentarily. You have it set up for 10 minutes for this lone qualifying here, but everybody's able to get in and get on track. So last week was their opening race with us here at Sim Racing Media. They raced 80 laps at Daytona, wound up going into overtime, so made it 83. Only had 4 cautions. Had a few different leaders, was a lot of side-by-side battling back and forth. But here at Las Vegas, I think we're going to see something maybe a little bit different. We also don't have last week's winner or second place finisher. Oh, second place finisher we do. And then Brendan Broadfoot, I don't see him in here either. Last week's gentleman that led the most laps. See here. The Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Is a 1.5 miles, 20-degree banking in the turns, and then progressive banking in the front, 9 to 12 degrees in the front and back. So we'll see how these guys adapt to this change here. While we're waiting, we can bring up the weather real quick. So track temperature is 125 degrees. With ambient air pressure being ambient air temperature being 79. So the track is going to be hot and slick. We'll see if these guys slide around a little bit. Didn't notice too much of it in practice, but did see some of it happen here and there as they were working their way through the practice session. So it is 130 laps here. Qualifying with the fastest lap was Daniel Honeycutt, and he was up there with a 36.9. So pretty quick laps that we're going to be making here. We'll let these guys get loaded in their car and down on the grid. Bring up the grid real quick here too. We got Daniel Honeycutt in the 72 Toyota Twix on pole position. Andrew Teft just to his outside in that 98 Ford. Going back to row 2, we got Matthew Jarrett and Timothy Hoke. The number 5 Chevy of Brandon Poffenbarger with Alex Teft in the 29 Ford just to his outside of row 3. Row 4, Eric Spencer and Zach Peden. Robert Knopfsinger in that number 13 Ford. Dennis Kane, the number 4 Bush Peach, it looks like. Spencer Hanneman and Jarrett Larder. Jarrett Larder was up front quite a bit last week. Had a little incident towards the middle of the race that kind of stacked him up a bit, but still fought back and finished fairly well. Only wound up, looks like 4 laps down last week. We'll see how these guys work it out this week. It is a relatively small field here, but these guys still had pretty good racing last week. Didn't have too many cautions. They got everything figured out. Was a lot of side-by-side racing. People moving from the back to the front and back and forth again. We'll see what happens once this pace car makes that hard left-hand turn and we get set to let these guys go. Daniel Honeycutt will lead them to the green flag this first time. Pace car is going to make that left-hand turn. Honeycutt with the button here. And he is down and away. It's a pretty good jump just to his outside. Zach Peden jumped up high and was trying to make a little ground there. Robert Knopfsinger was down below the apron just a little bit on that restart. Looked like he tried to close the gap a little too fast on Eric Spencer there, but jumps up to the high side, and we're almost single file, just a few stragglers down on that inside lane. Timothy Hope drops out and goes to the inside of Poffenbarger, up to 4th position here. As the front 5 are single file now. Back by Alex Teft is side by side. Robert Knopfsinger up high. Jarrett Larder is down low trying to make some work there. We have Dennis Kane and Zach Peden bringing up the tail of the field right now. Up front, Daniel Honeycutt is still driving away. He's got about 0.3 of a second lead over second place Matthew Jarrett. Matthew Jarrett and Andrew Teft were working pretty well together last week at Daytona. We'll see what what plans they have in store this week here at Vegas. And Timothy Hope that time just ran the fastest lap of the race with the 31:06. You can see here, pretty much all three of these drivers kind of have a little bit of different ideas to get around the track. Andrew Teft goes down low in the corners and kind of floats it up high to the wall. And it looks like Timothy Hoke was thinking about going down to his inside there, but is going to stay about middle up in the corner. Teft and Hope both ran the fastest lap of the race that time with the 30.94. Andrew Teft is making the pass on the inside of Matthew Jarrett. Matthew Jarrett still hanging tough on the high side. Side by side they go down the backstretch. Jarrett gets a little bit better run off the corner and takes second position away from Teft there. We are 6 laps in right now. Once again, thanks everybody for joining us on the YouTube channel. Kim O'Coughlin, in the chat. Last week we definitely had a couple guys in the chat talking about race strategy and different things as that moved along. See what we can get started in there this week. Teft and Jarrett are still battling side by side. Jarrett gets a little looser up there on that high side. Maybe went a little bit too wide. Falls in behind Teft, and they have now swapped positions. Teft in second, Jarrett third. Timothy Hope battling back and forth, just kind of hanging out back here. No real pressure either way. Back, see what Offenbarger here. Ooh, and Knopfsinger into that outside wall, shot down the track. Luckily, nobody really behind him, so he's able to gather it in and keep going forward. Spencer Hanneman up here in 6th position, up 5 spots from where he started the race. Biggest mover so far. Definitely showing out all sorts of colors last week and this week in that 77 Ford. Daniel Honeycutt still has that Twix machine up front, and he's starting to pull away. He's out to almost a second lead over second place Andrew Teft. So we'll see what happens and what pit strategies we can see. Last week we were probably going to be in for a treat and see who could make it on fuel, and then we had that late race caution that kind of evened everybody out, and then we had the caution right before the white flag. So definitely something to look out for here, especially with the number of racers we have. Cautions are probably going to be a little bit few and far between on a track like Vegas here. Offenbarger up to 4th. Spencer Hanneman back to 5th. He's still up 6 spots right now. Jarrett battling Teft. Still side by side they go. Down through the front stretch here. Teft stays up high. Jarrett down right on that white line almost. Looks like we have a battle brewing back here with Notzinger, Hoke, and Spencer all moving around. And even Dennis Kane is starting to pull his way up into this battle here. Looks like we got 6th through 9th. Everybody trying to figure out what's going on as Spencer gets a little loose there. Goes down the track, and he might lose a spot here to Alex Teft. Teft lets him gather it back in and falls in line behind him. But they are still all over the track up here. Kane down to the inside of Hoke. And he will get by. Now we've seen a little bit different line from Robert Notzinger Jr. here, as he went clear down on the apron when you come by that start-finish line and went clear up to the wall trying to enter that corner. As Timothy Hoke gets into that outside wall, saves it, and we keep going here. But he hit that wall pretty hard, bounced around a couple times. But these guys are racing pretty tight up here with Teft, Kane, Notzinger. Well, it looks like Kane was able to pull away there. So Teft, Spencer, and Larder all battling it back out here as we work our way through lap 15. Oh, and Jarrett spins around. Looks like he's going to stay low on the track. Let's see if we can see what happened there. Take a look here at Matthew Jarrett. Goes to the high side of the 5 of Poffenberger. Teft gets into the wall, spins around, and collects Jarrett, and looked like Spencer Hanneman might have got a little bit of it too. So Jarrett and Teft both hit pit lane now. As Honeycutt now has Poffenberger breathing down his neck. Poffenberger down to the inside and passes him like he was standing still. Brandon Poffenberger takes the lead 17 laps in. But these two have got quite the gap back to third place. Spencer Hanneman is back here a little over 2 seconds back of Daniel Honeycutt. Dennis Kane working the inside of Notzinger. Side by side they go through that front stretch. Kane gets down almost to that apron, slides up and into Robert Notzinger, and we are going to have our first caution of the night. Let's take a look here. Did Notzinger kind of slide down the track? Kane sliding up. They both go through the front stretch pretty good here, and then all of a sudden, almost like he was shot out of a cannon there. If we can get a different look here. So here they come out of 4. Looks like they're both relatively clear of each other. And you can kind of see Kane get away a little bit here. And then right when they start heading to the start-finish line, Kane starts pressing up just a little bit to get off that apron. And right into the 13 he goes, into that wall, gets shot down the track. And that is what brought out our first caution here. Like we're seeing almost everybody head to pit lane. 19 laps in. The only two that probably won't are going to be Andrew Teft and Matthew Jarrett, as they both pitted right before that caution came out on lap 15. So we'll see what happens once they get up here. Looks like Poffenbarger is the first one out pit lane. Spencer Hanneman, Zach Peden, Andrew Teft up to fourth. Dennis Kane, Eric Spencer. So Daniel Honeycutt spent 47 seconds, almost 48 seconds in his pit box. So I don't know what that would have been for, other than maybe a speeding penalty or something to that effect. Because he was he shouldn't have had any damage. He stayed cleared of pretty much everything out there. Get these guys all stacked back up. We got Brandon Poffenbarger. He scored as the leader right now. So when the lights go out on the pace car, I'm going to say I'm going to say 13 and the 81 are probably going to take this wave around here. I believe the pace lights should go out this time. And they do. And there goes the 2. The 81 and the 13. Let me get that lap back here. Work our way down that Nellis straightaway here. Backstretch at Vegas. That definitely shook it up just a little bit, as Poffenbarger, Henneman, Kane, and Spencer are now up front. Poffenbarger was leading the race when we came to pit lane. Daniel Honeycutt was in second, and now he is back in fifth position on that inside row. We get set to let these drivers have at it once again. Brandon Poffenbarger with the button hits that Geico restart zone, and he is down and away. Like he's going to try and make the most of it pretty quickly here. Looks like the 4 of Dennis Kane almost stuck his nose down to the inside of Spencer, 3 wide behind them, as we've got Eric Spencer in the middle there of Honeycutt and Larder. Larder's making a move now. He's up to third position, just outside of Kane. Kane's still working that low line when it comes into that stretch. Notzinger's behind him, and Eric Spencer's between upper row, but between. But Dennis Kane's trying to make that bottom side work. He's holding tough with Honeycutt. Honeycutt's up on the high line at the high seam there. Now you see Knopfsinger do basically what Honeycutt was doing before. Kind of working down towards the apron and coming up clear to the wall. Maybe he's trying to figure out why Honeycutt was so much faster earlier. But Honeycutt's staying up high. He's not coming down. He might be maybe trying to save some tires or something up there. Hinman up in third. Garrett Larder up 10 spots. P2 right now, looking for the lead. To the high side he goes, down that backstretch. Larder and Poffenbarger, and Larder gets the lead, and he is slowly starting to pull away just a little bit here. Coming through turn 4. Head to the front stretch, and Larder will lead that lap. Poffenbarger back in second, and side by side for third was Honeycutt and Hanneman. Dennis Kane's not too far back there as well. Eric Spencer almost all over the track. He's getting attacked to the high side and low side. Low side is Robert Knopfsinger. High side is Andrew Teft. Larder out in front by almost a second now. Looks like he was almost playing a little bit of possum there for a little bit. He has found some speed and he is off to the races here. Offenberger hanging back in second. Spencer Hanneman in third. Daniel Honeycutt back to fourth. Rounding out the top 5 is Dennis Kane. It looks like Knopfsinger spun around here. Brings out our second caution of the evening. Let's come back and take a look here, see what we can see. Let's go to... take a look up here first before we see what happened. Like he's all right, just inside the seam. Oh, looks like his steering wheel just stayed going one direction. Almost like he had a mechanical failure there. So we'll jump back up to the front. Offenbarger was acting like he was headed to the pits. Daniel Honeycutt decided not to pit, and Poffenbarger pulled out just before that commitment cone. So little mind games being played here today. So let's see what we have here. We've got 3 cars that stayed out. Larder, Teft, Kane, Garrett, Henneman, Hoke, and Peden all hit pit lane. Robert Knopfsinger is still in the pits, and Alex Teft has put it on the hauler after 18 laps. The pace light should be going out on that pace car, and we'll get them stacked up, racked up, ready to go again. Once again, if you are in that YouTube chat, go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, turn on bell notifications. We do this almost every night. And there's always something going on here at Sim Racing Media. You're in the chat, tell me who you think's going to win or who you want to see more action from here. I'll see if we can get a little more screen time for you. It looks like we'll have one more lap as the lights are still on that pace car. They are getting ready to stack them up here. Like everybody's back off pit lane, but it looks like Andrew Teft is headed back down there, but lights are out on the pace car. We'll be going green the next time by here as we work through lap 32. So Poffenbarger will have the button. Daniel Honeycutt just to his outside. Poffenbarger and Honeycutt, both the guys who have led at the restarts. And it looks like Knopflinger has elected to put it on the hauler and call it a night as well. We're down to 10 left in the race. 97 laps to go once we get back to green. Pace car is in. Poffenbarger bringing him down to that Geico restart zone. He's down and away. He looks like he got a little wiggle there when he hit that accelerator pedal, but he still got out to a pretty decent start. Jumps up in front of Honeycutt. Now it's Honeycutt, or Poffenbarger, Honeycutt, and Larder, the three leaders. 1, 2, 3 right now. Honeycutt goes up high and is going to ride that wall almost. Back behind them is Matthew Jarrett. After having that early incident, he is back up into 4th position. Eric Spencer back in 5th. Timothy Hoke in 6th. Dennis Kane 7th. Spencer Hanneman back in 8th. Andrew Teft in 9th. And Zach Peden rounds out that top 10. So Honeycutt and Poffenbarger battling side by side, about 10 feet apart, 11 feet apart, as one's down low and one's clear up high. Honeycutt gets that line, and as he is carrying that speed down that back straightaway, and Larder is going to follow him through. Larder and Poffenbarger side by side. Larder gets the run off the corner, and there's nothing Poffenbarger can do. As it looks like Jarrett's also going to try and go to that high line. He saw it work a couple times, but Poffenbarger jumps up in front of Jarrett and shuts that down pretty quickly. Forces Jarrett to go down to the inside if he's going to try and pass him. Timothy Hoke leading the second little group of cars back here. Dennis Kane and Andrew Teft. Andrew Teft bouncing back and forth from the inside lane to the high line in front of Spencer Hanneman. So Honeycutt is back out to lead in the race. Has about a half-second lead over Larder and Poffenbarger. And we haven't really seen a full fuel run here. Had those couple little cautions there. Everybody last pitted on lap 19 or 29, basically. Andrew Teft did pit on lap 32. Looks like that was Might have been for tires and fuel. Spent 15 seconds. Dennis Can in his pit on lap 29 for just 5 seconds, so he just took fuel. So back in this group here, we've got Hoffenberger, Hoke, Jarrett, and Teft all battling it out, with Kane just to the back side of those guys. And Poffenbarger is staying up there. Hoke and Jarrett side by side battling through the corner. Like Teft is having a little bit of issues there. Hoke and Jarrett still side by side. Doesn't look like either one of them can really get a run on each other. Carrying about the same amount of speed at my gauge here. Looks like Hook might be able to get him this time if he's going to try and slide up in front of Jarrett. Jarrett almost gets that wall. Slides in behind Hoke there and just in front of Teft. Teft down to the inside. It's almost on that line. And this group, if they quit battling, looks like they're starting to catch Larder there, and Poffenbarger is. Looks like Larder might have used up a lot of his stuff trying to run up front there with Honeycutt. Honeycutt is out to over a second lead now, right now, with Larder, Poffenbarger, and Hoke all hanging on there. "40 laps in. Daniel Honeycutt is starting to putting on a little bit of a clinic. Looks like he decided he wanted to be back out front. That's why he kind of stayed out there a little bit when others hit pit lane, because he wanted that track position. We saw what he did last time when he was out in front at the beginning of the race. Started to drive away from everybody, and he is doing the same thing now as he's maintaining about the 1 second lead over Poffenbarger. Andrew Teft is able to get by Hoke, and now he is in third. See if Hoke has anything left to battle back on that 98 machine of Teft. '98 machine started to the high side. Is going to get by Poffenbarger. Like Dennis Kane passed Jarrett there. And it looks like Henneman and Peden are battling back here for the 7th position. Side by side they go. And Jarrett Larder is just dropping like a rock through the field. Looks like he only took fuel only 2 back on lap 29, only spent 7 seconds in his box. And now he is at the back end of this field. Inside now with Larder. It looks like he might be sliding around just a little bit. You can kind of hear those tires whining there. Jump back up towards the front. And Andrew Teft has got by Honeycutt and is now leading the race. So Honeycutt has those big jumps that he had earlier, but after about 5 to 10 laps, it all of a sudden starts to go away, and he starts fading back through the field. Looks like he might be experiencing the same thing Larder did. But Honeycutt was in his pits on lap 19 and spent 47 seconds in his pit box. Poffenbarger is trying to close the gap now right on his back bumper here. Poffenbarger down to the inside. Not quite enough to get that nose inside of Honeycutt there. Hey, if you're still on, Robert, you can hop in there and I'll pull you in. I had no problem talking to the drivers after their incidents there. And Singer just checking in on the YouTube chat. And he tell us what happened if we get him up here in the booth. So we'll see if we can make that happen. But right now, Poffenberger and Honeycutt are kind of just hanging on back here. Andrew Teft is pulling away, has almost a second lead, but like he's having some little bit of issues there. See if we can get a view here. Look from the nose here of the 5, the MVP Roofing and Restoration, number 5 Chevy from Brandon Poffenbarger, and see how far in front Andrew Teft is here. If we can find some action here on track. It looks like everybody's pretty well separated here. But while they are, I'm going to go ahead and step aside. We'll go side by side, and you won't miss anything right now as Jared is going to the inside of Hoke here. We'll see. We'll watch this pass before we head to break. They're battling out pretty good here. So with that, we'll be right back here on Sim Racing Media, Racers Elite Xfinity Series from Las Vegas. Welcome back, everybody, to Sim Racing Media and the Racers Elite Xfinity Series from Las Vegas, round number 2 here. And Andrew Teft is leading the race here. Brandon Poffenbarger back in second. Daniel Honeycutt is in third. Into the wall. So it looks like he's going to lose a couple positions here to Henneman and Peden. Like Dennis Kane came down to pit lane on lap 55. Timothy Hoke is in there as well. So Dennis Kane back out on track. And it looks like Poffenbarger is slowly closing this gap. When we went away, Teft was leading the race by almost a second, and now it's down to half. So Poffenbarger is slowly working this gap down here. He goes down to the inside, and it looks like he is checking up, headed to pit lane. So it looks like we kind of have our answer. Like we're probably going to have at least one more pit stop before this race is done, as they are halfway. Well, not quite halfway yet. So we'll see what strategies unfold here. But with Poffenbarger hitting pit lane, that leaves the gap from Andrew Teft to Spencer Hanneman at a little over 6 seconds right now. Matthew Jarrett about a second back of Hanneman. We'll see if those hit pit lane, but Jarrett stays out. So right now, there's only 2 cars that have not hit pit lane, Andrew Teft and Matthew Jarrett. So Andrew Teft out here working pretty hard. Has a 7-second gap there. 7.5 second gap over Matthew Jarrett, but it looks like they're not pitting yet either, so see where Poffenbarger is here. Poffenbarger and Kane batting out pretty closely here. Basically for the effective race lead. Kane pitted on lap 55, Poffenbarger back on lap 59. So 4 lap different tires, and Poffenbarger is getting around. Daniel Honeycutt also pitted on lap 58. He's about 2.5 seconds back of the battle up there between Poffenbarger and Kane. Then you have Zach Peden about 5.5 back of Honeycutt, with Timothy Hoke just off his back bumper there as well. And it looks like these lap cars are starting to unlap themselves, as Poffenbarger is now only has, looks like Andrew Teft in front of him that he needs to unlap himself. So we'll see how long Teft and Jarrett stay out. See if we can see where Andrew is right now. He's down that backstretch. So it looks like he's going to hit pit lane now. We'll see how long if he stayed out too long and these other drivers are going to be able to pass him here, or what's going on as that gap is slowly going away. And it looks like Jarrett stayed out as well. So right now the race lead is going to be Poffenbarger and Kane, as Teft is still in his pit box. Coming down the front stretch are Poffenberger and Kane. And they will get by Teft, as Teft's still in the pits, just coming out now. But Jarrett is still out running laps right now. Halfway through the race. Let's see where Jarrett is. So Jarrett is just coming to pit lane, just past the start finish line there. And Poffenbarger just looks like he's just getting to that back stretch. So basically a straightaway between them. Jarrett will have to pit at some point here soon. He does have a little over 24-second gap back to Poffenbarger, but everybody spends at least 42 to 45 seconds on pit lane, no matter what they do. I think I just heard that the 81 is going to come in this time, so Matthew Jarrett will be peeling off to hit pit lane. So that will, in fact, give the race lead to Brandon Poffenbarger here. Dennis Kane will move up to second. Daniel Honeycutt up to third. So here they come for the race lead. We'll see if that staying out those extra laps is going to help, if he's not going to have to make that extra pit stop. Because it's hard to tell when that pit stop's going to have to be made, because we had a few laps under caution and a lot of people hit pit lane. We got 60 laps left. Poffenbarger, Kane, and then Honeycutt and Teft. Honeycutt and Teft battling it back here. It looks like Teft might have made the right call. He's got about 6 lap fresher tires than Honeycutt. So he is working his way back up towards the front. Dennis Kane now in front of him, and the gap between Kane and Teft is a little under 2.5 seconds right now, and it's getting smaller with every passing second here. Brandon Poffenbarger has about a 1 second gap over Dennis Kane. Poffenbarger back up front, led a few laps early. Fell back a little bit and he's battling his way back up here. We got Spencer Henneman and Eric Spencer battling for 6th and 7th. And Kane and Teft are battling it out here. Teft down the inside. Almost like he was shot out of a rocket ship as he just blew the doors off of Dennis Kane there. So we'll see how fast he can close in on Poffenbarger. Kind of see how far back Teft is there. Let's take a look back from Dennis Kane here. This Busch car. Kind of see that basically nobody's really around him. Honeycutt's back there a little ways in that Twix 72 Toyota. Honeycutt's fast on the short runs, but gives it up on the longer runs. Looks like, unless he's trying to play a little bit more pit strategy and be quicker towards the end of the race here. Poffenbarger and Teft are going to start battling momentarily. Teft seems to have a pretty fast ride. He had a fast ride last week too. When the green-white checker, when the caution came out for that green-white checker last week, he was leading the race. He opted to hit pit lane and see about getting those fresh tires, see if it would do any good, and it did not. He faded back a few positions from where he came out of the pits and was never able to fully recover from that as he goes to the high side of Poffenbarger here. Poffenbarger and Teft. If we got any battling going on back here towards the back. Larder, Jarrett. Everybody's kind of spread out a little bit. Might be the closest battle on track is for that lead. It is, as they are within a tenth of a second of each other. Teft on that back bumper. Down to the inside goes Teft. Side by side they go. Poffenbarger gets a better run coming off the corner. Teft has to dive in behind him. There you go. View looking back from Poffenbarger's here. See how close Teft gets to him. Not too close at all right there. Like maybe Teft might have used up his stuff just a little bit there. Working through lap 81 of 130. 10 cars are on the lead lap. Looks like Oak is fading back just a little bit here. Last pit on lap 56. Jarrett Larder is up to 9th. Matthew Jarrett is slowly driving away from those two in 8th. Eric Spencer. We got Spencer Hanneman. Zach Peden, Dennis Kane, Andrew Teft, and Brandon Poffenbarger. And it looks like we are open for pit stops once again as Honeycutt, Larder, and Hoke all hit pit lane. Must have just made it inside their pit window. elected to bring it down pit lane, make their pit stop early, and try and get some track position back towards the end of the race here. Okay, Dennis Kane, Zach Peden all hidden there as well. So Puffenbarger is out to a half-second lead now over Teft. So it looks like those tires have finally evened out a little bit. Puffenbarger last pit on lap 59. Andrew Teft on 64. Spencer Hanneman back there pitted on lap 60. Eric Spencer 59. Matthew Jarrett didn't pit till lap 68. We'll see if that's going to be the right strategy call to make here. There you see Larder trying to get one of his laps back. Right now we have 5 cars left on the lead lap. Puffenbarger, Teft, Hanneman, Spencer, and Jarrett. All the other guys came down pit road, made what I'm going to say is their final pit stop of the race. So we'll see what happens here with Puffenbarger and Teft and Henneman. See when they're going to elect to make that left-hand turn and turn down pit lane. And look here and see what the gap is, and there's quite a gap between the top 2 and third place. Third place is back almost 14.5 seconds. Fourth is 17 back, so definitely has quite the margin here. As you can see, Dennis Kane working his way through the field. Currently scored in 7th position. 1 lap down at the moment. Trying to close in on Teft and Puffenbarger. Honeycutt is in front of him. We'll see if Honeycutt made the right move and stayed out and came in early to make that work. Matthew Jarrett, on the other hand, tried something a little bit different. Last pit on lap 68. We're going to see if he has enough fuel to make it towards the end. Back up front, Puffenbarger is making it work here. Still pulling that gap. It's out to 1.5 seconds right now. Still only have 5 cars on the lead lap. Huffenbarger last pitted on lap 59, as did Eric Spencer. Everybody else pitted 60 or more. Daniel Honeycutt came in on lap 81. Kane and Peden 83. Larder and Hoke as well on 81. Starting to get strung out through the field. Everybody's basically has a couple seconds between all of them. The closest battle looks like it might be right here with Daniel Honeycutt and Dennis Kane. They are battling for position out on track. It is for 6th. Kane wants it, and Honeycutt has it. And gets a little bit of a run down on that inside. See if he's going to be able to stick his nose in there and make it work. Side by side they go still. And Kane gets a run down on the inside, slides up in front of Honeycutt, completes that pass coming out of 2, and down the backstretch they go. Check back up front. Puffenbarger still has not decided to make that left-hand turn. We're on lap 96 of 130. He has made 2 pit stops. Last one on 59. One before that, I believe it was on lap 19. So we'll see how many laps he elects to go before he brings it in to top it off for fuel. Maybe a splash and go, just try and make it to the end. Because it doesn't look like he's trying to save any fuel. Let's see if maybe we can take a look at the cockpit here. See what how his throttle control is here. It looks like he's not really pushing it too much. Yep, heading down pit lane. We'll jump back to Jarrett. Jarrett last pit on lap 68. So a little over halfway through the race. We'll see if he had enough fuel in it to make it to the end. Looks like Hoffenbarger, Eric, Spencer Henneman, Timothy Hoke's it back down pit lane as well. So let's jump back out here, take a look, and see what's going on. You see Zach Peden just in front and Garrett Larder just behind Jarrett here. So it looks like Dennis Kane might be almost going to be leading that race here if Jarrett has to come in, because I'm pretty sure Teft is going to come in. Yeah, he's coming in this time. So Teft will give up the race lead to Matthew Jarrett. We'll see if Jarrett's going to try and stay out and just nurse that car to the end, or if he's going to hit pit lane and try and take just, a little splash and go here. I think even that, you're looking at a 40-second pit lane time, and laps are turning off at anywhere between 32 and 33 seconds. There's not a lot of time to come down, get that splash and go. But Dennis Kane is back almost 14 and a half seconds. So as these guys are wrapping up their money stops here, we're going to go ahead and step aside. Won't miss anything. We'll go side by side, and I'll be back momentarily. Welcome back, everybody, to Sim Racing Media Racers Elite Xfinity Series is live. Working our way through these final 25 laps here at Las Vegas for this round 2 action. And it looks like while we were on break, Matthew Jarrett did come down and hit pit lane on lap 104. So he is back in 6th position right now. Puffenbarger is up fourth, currently leading the race. Andrew Teff not too far behind. Zach Peden is hitting pit lane. Looks like Spencer Hanneman hit on lap 96. See if he's going to be able to move up here. Up 8 positions, biggest mover of the race so far. Inside the top 3. You know, last week there was somebody in there working his way through here. Nope. It looks like Alex checking in on the YouTube. Like he made a mistake. Everybody does every once in a while when they're doing this. Forgot to click that fast repair button. And once you're in the pit, you're kind of stuck there. So he elected to call it a night on lap 18. We'll see what he can do next week when he's back in action. So up front is Puffenbarger. And he has got a little over second lead over Teft. See how these final laps shake out here. Hanneman and Eric. The Spencers just can't get away from each other. Eric Spencer and Spencer Hanneman are just pretty close on track. Been that way most of the race here tonight. Let's see if we can take a look from the rear view camera on Brandon Poffenbarger's car here. See how far back Teft is right now. 19 laps to go. So no real pressure at the moment for that 5 Chevy. It looks like a few drivers are going to be looking for one of those yellow things to come out to reset the field to have a chance to go for the win here. Otherwise, right now, looks like it's going to be Poffenbarger or Andrew Teft. $17 laps to go. If we can find a little bit of a battle on track. I don't know that we can. Looks like Honeycutt and Hoke there, not battling for position. Larder's quite a way back. Zach Peden's behind him. Then you have the leaders starting to make their way around, come up to this lap traffic. Spencer Hanneman, Eric Spencer, and Matthew Jarrett. Matthew Jarrett goes to the high side. He's going to pass Eric Spencer. See if he can carry some more speed and try and get a couple more positions back. Right now he's down 2 from where he started the race. Down 1 if he can get past Eric Spencer here. Looks like he will do that. Now we got a few movers here, but the biggest mover right now is Spencer Hanneman, up 8 positions from where he started, running inside that top 3, as Matthew Jarrett on his back bumper there, closing the gap with every lap. Got about 8 lap different tires, so we'll see if that's going to come into effect here as Jarrett is closing pretty quickly here. Down to the inside goes Jarrett. If Hanneman knows he's there. He does. Side by side they go down that front stretch into turn 1. See if Jarrett can make the pass as they exit turn 2. Not quite enough. Hanneman's still hanging tight on that high side. Looks like turn 3. Looks like Jarrett's going to be able to make that pass and slide up in front of Spencer Hanneman there. $12 laps to go. Poffenbarger, Teft, Jarrett, Hanneman, and Spencer. 5 cars on the lead lap. take a couple rides here with your race leader from his roof cam here. And see how close he gets to that white line, and then how far he slides up to the wall and then tries to drive it back down just inside or just outside of that first seam there. And he drives it almost to that white line coming through 3 and 4. Gets back out towards the wall, then drives it right back down to that white line. It looks like he's got this track pretty well figured out. Andrew Teft about a second and a half back. Matthew Jarrett quite a ways back. No real pressure at any point from looking at the deltas here. Eight laps to go this time by. Brendan Puffenbarger looking to take home the victory here at Las Vegas. Ran up front for a few laps. And I got stuck back in traffic when he was on a little bit different pit strategy. Pitted with the early group on lap 97. Now he is leading the race. 7 laps to go. Puffenbarger is getting even further out. We've got almost a 2-second gap. Back here and see if Garrett's closing in, and he is not. I think that might be Dennis Kane trying to battle through the laps here. He is a lap down with Teft and Puffenbarger just in front of him there. Down to the inside he goes of Teft, but Teft has a little bit more speed coming out of the corner. Down to the inside goes Kane again. He's going to be able to make that pass. Not quite there. Tucks it back up in behind, and we are at 4 to go. Puffenbarger wants everybody quiet on the radio so he can just focus, hit his marks, and he will bring home this victory. He is now out to a 2.5-second lead over Teft. But Teft doesn't have anybody pushing on him right now, as Jarrett is about 20 seconds back of Teft there. And Henneman has fell off as well. Looks like Spencer Henneman and Eric Spencer might wind up battling out here shortly for the minor placings here. But all of them are going to wind up inside this top 5. As Dennis Kane is still a lap down. Daniel Honeycutt as well. They all stayed out a little bit too long, pitted on lap 105 and 104. And now they have way too much to do and not enough time to do it in. 2 laps to go. See anybody making any moves here? Like I said, the closest battle on track is this one between Spencer Henneman and Eric Spencer. But I don't know that that's going to matter as we get towards the start-finish line. White flag in the air. Puffenbarger just has to make it around, and this race is over. He's got almost a 4-second lead now. Looks like Tuft is just kind of packing it in, saving whatever he wants. And I'm going to take this last lap and relax as he's got 20 seconds on Matthew Jarrett. So the top three, Poffenbarger, Andrew Teft, and Matthew Jarrett. So we'll see if we can get these guys up here in the booth. All right, let's see what we can do here. Hey, Matthew, Mike up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Hey, man, heck of a race. Battled back to finish third. How was it out there?
Yeah, all day I couldn't find a real good line I liked. I was struggling saving my tires. The fuel situation just kind of landed in my lap. Kind of a happy accident, but it was overall a good race. I'm happy how it ended.
Yeah, definitely. You stayed out a lot longer than everybody else, and you're able to at least stay up there and battle back to finish third. A couple other guys that pitted on the same laps didn't get so lucky there.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I stole a podium on that race. I figured I was going to finish 6th or 7th or something. I was struggling with that wreck early, and I just couldn't find the rhythm.
Yeah, definitely. Well, congrats on your P3 finish here, and maybe we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, and thank you for your awesome broadcast.
Yeah, thanks, man. All right, let's see if we can get Andrew up here. Hey, Andrew, Mike up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Oh, not too bad. Well, you were all over the place, but you were able to battle up here and finish P2.
Yeah, a little bit of a rush. I got in the wall off of 2, screwed up the 81. Maybe a couple others. I haven't had the chance to look at it, but yeah, just got my stuff together after that and found a little groove. But yeah, I just couldn't make it hold on the long run.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like you started to fade back as you worked your way through the race, but still were able to get that good pit strategy and come out with the P2. Anybody you want to thank for that?
Yeah, thanks to you for doing this. Thanks for everybody for coming out and making this possible.
Definitely. Well, I will let you get back to celebrating your P2 finish and maybe talk to you next week.
Thanks, Mike.
Yep. Hey, Brandon, Mike up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, heck of a race there. You were you found something that was able to work. You didn't quite have the short run speed, but that long run speed, you started pulling away pretty good both times you were out front.
Yeah, I was just an old trick I found a couple years ago, just keeping it as low as I can, as long as I can. It tends to help with the tire wear. So, and then I saw Andrew starting to catch me, so I tried to kind of block his line a little bit, see if I can keep him behind me those last 2 runs.
Yeah, it definitely looked like he was starting to close, and then all of a sudden your car kind of came in and his went away, and you were able to pull away to almost a little over 4-second win here.
Yeah, I think just from me pitting early, I got out ahead, and he was trying to catch up, and I was kind of saving. And then after he caught me, he pretty much kind of used his stuff up a little bit, and I was still kind of good. So I think that's a big factor in how I kind of pulled away to that 4-second win.
Definitely. Well, congrats on your win. Anybody you want to thank before I let you go?
Just you for broadcasting, the guys for putting this league on, and my team. We got one of my other teammates in here, Spence, the 51. So he's new this week, but he should be racing with us every week now.
Definitely not bad for a debut for a couple drivers there. He was able to get top 5.
Yeah.
All right, well, I will let you go, Brandon, and maybe I'll talk to you next week.
10-4.
All right, so that is the show here from Vegas. Let's go ahead and go through these quick results here. Brandon Poffenberger up there with the win. Andrew Teft in second. Matthew Jarrett in third. Spencer Hanneman, biggest mover of the day, up 7 positions, finishes P4. Eric Spencer in his league debut, P5. Dennis Kane, Daniel Honeycutt, Zach Peden all pitted a little different strategy and came up just a little bit short there. Finished 6th, 7th, and 8th. Garrett Larder back in 9th. Timothy Hoke in 10th. Then we had Robert Knopfsinger and Alex Teff both involved in incidents and called it a night early. So that is race 2 here from the Racers Elite Xfinity Series. We'll be back with you next week as we head to Atlanta. Atlanta will close out June on the 28th, and then we'll head to some short track racing and see some fireworks on July 5th. So from everyone here at the Racers Elite Xfinity Series and all of us at Sim Racing Media, this is Mike Timoney saying goodnight, and I will see you all next week.